Нам никто ничего бесплатно.
Nobody would ever sell anything to us free of charge, and likewise, we don't provide anything free of charge either, so these gas contracts will be stopped. When our funds in euros and dollars are frozen, then it no longer makes sense to use those currencies. We delivered gas to European consumers. They got it, and then they paid us in euros. But then they froze those euros. So that means that we've given Europe free energy.
And for more on this, we're joined by our international affairs editor, Philip Turl. Philip, is Putin bluffing? Is this just an empty threat?
I don't think it's an empty threat. I think it's more of a last-ditch bid by the Russian president to try to prop up the Russian currency, the ruble, which has been severely affected by the sanctions, falling by about 40% since the beginning of the war in Ukraine. And you have to remember that the Russian stock exchange was closed for several weeks because they knew the day they opened that it would crash. So Vladimir Putin is looking around thinking, what can I do to try to reboot the ruble, to try to support business in Russia, because everybody is suffering as a result of the sanctions. And this is one of the ways. But the reaction from the European Union has been pretty quick and pretty unanimous. I can read you a few of the replies today. The German economy minister said it's important for us not to give a signal that we'll be blackmailed by Vladimir Putin. The German chancellor said, by all means, it remains the case that companies want, can, and will pay in euros. The French economy minister, Bruno Le Maire, said contracts are contracts. What he's referring to there is the fact that these contracts were drawn up and it was agreed at the start that these payments would take place in euros. And he says those contracts are signed and Russia just can't change them without a negotiated agreement between the European Union and Russia. So what can Russia do now? Well, if it really wants to turn nasty, it can turn off the gas supply completely to Europe. But as you said, 40% of Europeans, 40% of gas supplies from Russia go into the European Union. So that will be a huge loss for Russia. So what Vladimir Putin is saying now is, OK, you can leave those payments in euros for the time being to Gazprom Bank. And then Gazprom Bank would change those back into rubles afterwards for a short period while we rearrange this so that everybody can then pay in rubles. But as far as the West is concerned, they say no, they're not going to adhere to that.
Do you see Putin backing down?
Difficult to say. It depends what Putin knows. And as we've been talking a lot today about the information getting as far as Vladimir Putin is concerned, how much does he actually know about the impact of sanctions on the Russian economy? How much does he actually know about how badly the war is going for the Russians in Ukraine, about the losses, about the mutiny amongst Russian soldiers? I mean, many of them have turned up and they're wondering what they're doing there because there is no reason for Russia, in their view, to invade the country. That's what they found out when they've actually got into Ukraine. So it's a difficult situation. But I think, obviously, Vladimir Putin is concerned about the impact of all of this because, to be quite honest with you, Monty, and I think this is no secret, everybody right across the board is saying that Vladimir Putin got this wrong. He believed that the West wouldn't be so united in its approach towards Russia's intervention in Ukraine. He thought it would be more like the reaction back in 2014 when he took over Crimea. He didn't reckon on there being the strong amount of sanctions that the West has introduced in Russia. So all of this is something that he's had to try to deal with, which was not on the table when this invasion was planned originally. And of course, we know that the invasion has not gone as well as the Russians and as well as Vladimir Putin himself planned, and he wasn't expecting this strong resistance from the Ukrainian people against the Russian invasion of Ukraine. So all of these factors put together means that Vladimir Putin is looking for other ways now to get round those sanctions, to get money into the coffers of the Russian central bank. And this way of trying to force the European Union to pay in rubles is one of them, but the European Union isn't buying it.
Okay, Philip Turl, international affairs editor. Philip, thanks a lot.